Okay, class. Based on The Rainbow Fish by Marcus Pincer, we're going to be completing a worksheet. This is for my 6 students that are lower level readers. So, everyone will have this worksheet, and it will have a couple different fishes, a few fishes, and some words are what a stinky friend would say, and some words are what a respectful, friendly friend would say. So you students are we're pre-teaching vocabulary. Vocabularies we already learned about, such as mean, tease, nice, hit, kind, shares, faithful, respectful, name calling, bullies. So every word on a fish that is nice and friendly, I want you to color a bright color. For every fish that is stinky and not nice, a friend you wouldn't want to have, the way that if they're bullies, you don't want to be friends with them, color them in dark, like brown or black. And the rest of the happier, friendly stuff, like character traits you would want your friends to act or have, I want them to be bright colors like yellow, orange. Okay, and then once you're finishing coloring what you think is a nice friend versus what you think is a stinky friend, I want you to write 1 or 2 sentences, or you can just do bullets, but it has to be at least 4 to 5. Okay, the first question, being a good friend means, you can either write sentences or do bullet points of characteristics of being a good friend. And the second question, being a stinky friend means, and then continue. I don't want you to copy a couple of the same things you can have in here, because kindness is being a good friend and respectful is being a kind friend, but I want you to do other words that you can think of. Okay, those 6 students of low-level readers can go to that activity right now. Again, this activity is called the Fish Friendship Activity, based on The Rainbow Fish. Okay, Professor, I chose this center because my standard, again, is LAFS.1.RL.1.1. Ask questions and answer questions about key details in the text. This book is all about friendship, and I want the students to be able to tell me, like, what character traits a good friend has basis stinky friend. I chose this activity because lower level readers, it's important to pre-teach vocabulary words. My students should already know what kind means, what nice means, hit means, what name calling means, but just seeing it more often helps them like pre-teach the vocabulary words, and these are prime words that students will see often. This is an interactive activity that will help students remember characteristics of a good friend versus a bad friend. I used Pinterest just to help me. They had a worksheet very, very, very similar to this, where it had the 2 questions and then a box of fishes, but I just made up some of my own characteristics of what I think a good friend versus a bad friend is, and this relates to my standards about asking questions and the students being able to realize good versus bad pretty much. My rubric has a 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is based on the friendship activity. So a 4 is, my first category is completion. Students to earn a 4 would fully have to complete the worksheet. A 3, the students almost finished most of the worksheet. A 2 being the students filled less than half the worksheet out, and 1 being the students barely even completed the worksheet. Okay, my next category I did was content. A 4 being the highest. The students filled out the coloring sheet correctly. They filled the good characteristics with a bright color and the bad, like the stinky characteristics of a friend with a brown or black color. A 3 would being just a few were a little mixed up and a little confused. A 2 being that half the fishes were colored brown, and instead of only a couple being supposed to be. And then 1 is seeing that the student didn't even bother to color them in, only colored in 2 out of 9 of the fish. So for the writing, the 2 questions, to earn a 4, the students understood what being a good versus stinky friend was. They had some bullets or a few sentences explaining and not just copying the examples that I had. A 3 meaning students got most of the characteristics correct. They put a few or like maybe, one or two in the good friendship characteristics when it should have been in the bad characteristics. If that only happens 1 or 2 times, students get confused a lot. It's only first graders, and this is for lower level students, so I understand. 2 would be meaning that students only listed one of each when I made sure in the directions to say at least multiple, around 3 to 5. And then a 1 being the students didn't know the difference between being a good friend versus stinky friend, so they only listed 1 or not even attempted to. Or they just copied all the ones that I've had on the worksheet. So yeah, that was my rubric and the end for lower level readers.